day. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope everyone. I normally don't jump on here on Friday, but hey, I wanted to jump on here and do a quick, few minutes live, see what's going on with you guys, see what's on your mind, what's your plan this weekend, and at the same time, just have a quick conversation, man, about what's going on down in the state of Florida. As you guys know, I'm from Florida originally, so I have to be in with the news. It's still a state that I go to all the time, and I was looking at what was going on down there with the governor, Desantis and the bill that he had put in place. But let's start off with the whole Mike Tyson thing first, right? So Mike Tyson was going to, he was jumping on the flight out of Cali, and then he was supposed to be heading to Miami, right? He had this whole weed conference thing that was going on, the whole cannabis thing, because he's like invested into that right now. And because of that, hold on, guys, hold on, one second here, 1 second. Yeah, so he had this whole weed conference thing going on. He was heading down to Miami in first class, enjoying the journey, the flight across. And of course, some young guy was, started to bother him, right? It seems like he started to hit him in his head and or started messing around with him, started antagonizing him. He said there was a bottle that was thrown after him. Hey, Peaches Royal, good evening. How are you? Peaches, long time, right? I am here just doing a quick live, seeing how everyone is doing this evening. So he was flying across the country, going down to Miami. And of course, he's messing with Mike Tyson. And I'm just like, I'm wondering, man, I don't know. I was looking at this guy, right? So as I was here and I was here, looking at this guy, I'm just like, man, this guy, this is a picture that they posted, and looking at him, he's a young guy, right? So when Mike Tyson was in his prime, early 90s, maybe this guy didn't know much about him, or he hasn't read anything. Because I'm just wondering, was he ready to meet him? That's what I was wondering. Because why are you messing with a fighter? A world-class heavyweight fighter. I mean, he might be a little older right now, but still, he got those arms on him. You see how that guy's built in? So, of course, this guy threw a water bottle after Mike Tyson. That's what was allegedly said. According to him, he did not throw in a water bottle. He lawyered up and decided that, he wanted. But I even saw some photograph of Mike Tyson afterwards, when he arrived in Miami. Look at that, all smiles. He's happy about the whole cannabis venture that he's going to be a part of. They even have one of the whole cannabis, one of the gummies that he was doing. It has like an ear, like one of the famous, infamous ear that, because you remember he bit off Evander Holyfield a small part of his ear back in 1996. For you guys that actually were not as young as this guy right here that was messing around with a world-class fighter on an airplane. But nevertheless, I wanted to see what you guys were saying this evening. What are your thoughts on this thing, man? I mean, I thought this guy was a little bit on the crazy side, because he was in first class messing with this guy, and I'm just like, did he not know who this guy was? But like I said, he's young. Who knows if he was drinking a champagne? Who knows what he was doing? But what the guy did was he lawyered up, and of course, he's not saying anything right now. I was looking for his name, hoping they would just drop his name somewhere, right? So I could see what's his name, how old he was, get an idea of, who what his character was or whatever the case is. But I didn't see anything. I didn't find anything. So he lawyered up. They have his name hidden away. But whichever way, Mike Tyson doesn't look like he's sweating it, man, for nothing in the world. He's all smiles. He's all excited. I saw a photograph of him sitting down, when the police officers were out there in California, when they were called, before he boarded the flight to head down to Miami, when the police officers were called. I saw a photograph of him where he was just sitting, he's just relaxed. He's smiling. He's on the phone. The police officers are there. They're doing their thing. But Mike wasn't worried at all. He just felt maybe that, this guy's bothering me. I'm just going to be punching him, So he was, he allegedly, gave him some punch right there. But like I said, this guy's lucky, man, because this guy's a trained fighter. He's been a trained fighter for many years, and he's out there messing around with a trained fighter. But nevertheless, Mike made it to Miami safely. Everything went well. He's down there in Miami promoting this thing. He had to promote this thing like he wanted to do. And you know how it is. They're going to be messing with you. People are going to be pushing the limits. And what can you do? They would say the devil is strong. But once you get down to Miami, of course, like I said, guys, it was all smiles. Mike was all smiling, focusing on his new venture, right? Now, once we're in Miami, let's jump over and talk about this whole Desantis thing. I wanted to touch base on it just a little bit, right? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. The governor of Florida, Governor Desantis, he did a what they call the infamous "Don't Say Gay" bill, right? So he did this bill, which is I think it's HB 1557. All right, he did that bill and went through the legislation, and then he signed the bill. And basically, what the bill says is that you as a parent, I guess, have the kids are not as a parent, but he basically saying he's protecting the parents. But what he's saying is that basically, kids from three, kindergarten to three, to grade three, you can't teach them in the state of Florida regarding as far as sexuality, like the LGBT. He wants, or him and his legislator wants, the state of Florida or the people of Florida, the citizens of Florida, to decide for their children that's in that age group from kindergarten to grade three. Now, with that said, the bill was passed. This guy was clearly looking for yeah, Peaches, definitely. So Peaches said this guy was clearly looking for a moment, my opinion, because most people would want a photo app or a photograph, not to pick a fight with a champ. I agree, Peaches. I mean, that's crazy in itself, just thinking about that someone would actually be looking for a fight with Mike. But hey, nevertheless, like I said, Mike is in a situation right now where it is always going to be someone provoking him. But let's jump back to this Desantis thing now that Mike is down there in Florida, right? I was talking about the Desantis and how he put this law in place, right? How his legislative body agreed to the law. He signed the law in place, and he's saying he's protecting the kids, and that kids, when they're this young, they're not supposed to be focusing on this thing. Nevertheless, the law is passed. And then one of the Disney executive came out and says, hey, they were talking for their employees. They were not going to be doing any more. They weren't going to give any more money, to any politician right now. No Republicans, no Democrat. They were just going to be focusing just on their employees and what's going on in Disney World itself. Well, of course, people are not saying that, but it seems like the politicians down in Florida got upset about it. So of course they came out with a new bill, and they decided that they're going to remove Disney, special permission that they have had all these years since the 1960s until now, where Disney would be responsible for taking care of their water. They build the roads out in front of their parks. It is a good bill because it saved a lot of the people. It was a good idea at the time that could save a lot of people a lot of money, as far as Disney will be taking care of all the responsibility of dealing with the roads out front. Right now, when they revoked that this week, they signed it into law and they revoked it. Now they're saying that Disney is going to pass on all of these bills onto the resident of Florida, right? Whoever is living, because there are two counties that mix one to the other, and they feel like Disney is going to be a part of this mixture where they're going to pass on the bill to the residents of those two counties, whether it's the fire service, whether it's the trash service, whether it's building the roads. Disney's able to build all these roads real fast. It normally doesn't take long because it's a private entity. Normally politicians take a little longer to get things going. So I think now, with that said, they're saying that this is the better way to go, but I'm not sure, man. I mean, for me, kids are a little young to be thinking about the LGBT thing. But at the same time, you can allow the parents to do their own things. I don't think politicians should really be getting involved as far as that is concerned. Peaches, you jumped in. What did you say? You said, I agree with this sentence. Let the children be children. Okay, I got you. Stop pushing sex so early. Can they just play with toys? What happened to that? Hey, Peaches, I ain't no more toys anymore, man. The minute they put iPads and iPhones in these kids' hand, that was it. We started to play with devices, and then the devices are teaching them more things, right? So this is what the world we're living in. So it wasn't the day that we were playing with marbles and playing with cards and playing, not even board game. They don't want to play anymore. Everything is more digitalized. So I think that's the way we're going. That's exactly what's happening right now. So I think that's how we end up getting away from the letting the kids be kids. And then all of these states where different politicians are stepping in and saying, hey, we want to do this. We want to move the kids into that direction. where they can start learning about sex education early on in school. In my county, in Virginia, they don't start teaching sex education until the kids are in like fifth grade. That's a 10 or 11-year-old child. Now, down in Florida, it's a little earlier. Hey, T, good evening. In Florida, it's a little earlier. So basically, that's the reason why I think, Rashida, good evening. How are you? Yeah, so basically down in Florida, what they were doing, it's starting earlier. So I think this is where the governor, and his legislators decided that they want to step in and start to make it where it's mandatory that after grade 3, you can't start teaching until after grade 3. So that means from kindergarten to grade 3 is when you can actually start teaching kids about this sexual education, especially about anything in general, really. And that's what the governor is saying. I mean, he had a lot of support, but at the same time, he has some people on the other side that were, with all laws that you put in place, you're going to have negative and positive. You're going to have people that support it and people are not going to support it. So in his case, he had a lot of people that were saying, they liked the law, and that's the reason why it passed, because a lot of the constituents were supporting some of their legislators in the area and in their community, and that's the reason why I think the law passed. Because I can't talk this evening, guys. Normally I'm not here on Friday, but hey, let's get through it. Not a few minutes, but yeah. So that's really I want to discuss this. I want to touch base on it, but I think after he did that, after he passed the law, and when Disney, of course, Disney have over 80,000 employees, right? So you're like the biggest employer, in the state of Florida, and you hired so many people. You're gonna have people from all walks of life. So at the same time, these Disney executives, like the CEO and the past CEO, they had to come forward and say something. Well, they came forward and said what naturally one would say if they employ that many people, and that's the reason why they came. He came in, the CEO, and said, "Hey, I'm going to be supporting, my employees. I'm going to be focusing on donating that money that I would normally give to politicians, whether Democrats or Republican. I would just give it to the LGBTQ community, or whatever, to help support that community or support sexuality in." Because they didn't want to be a part, they didn't want to be in the mix of it. So they had a choice. It was either choosing the side of the politician or choosing the side of your employees. And at this point, I think they went with the best option, which was choosing the side of their employees. I think that was the best way to go. What is Peaches saying? I was a beast at Jack, double dutches and hopscotch. Yeah, Peaches, me too. I'm telling you. These kids don't even know what it is. No, they don't even play marbles anymore, Peaches. They don't do any of that stuff. Almost all of the outside activity that you can think about, our kids are not playing it. This new generation, they're not playing it. They're inside more now. They got the tablets and the iPhones and whatever the case is, but they're mostly inside. That's why we have, as parents, we have to push for them to go outside and get some sunlight, because if not, they're going to be vitamin D deficient. There's just so many kids in the neighborhood that I live, right? Normally you don't see any kids walking around here, but I'm telling you, as soon as the hour come for the bus and my kids walk outside to go to the bus, you see all of these kids out there. And I have to be asking my wife, so, well, did all these kids live here? I had no idea. I thought maybe they were coming from the next neighborhood over. But of course they're here. It's just that they don't do much outside anymore. So they're mostly inside. That's pretty much what's going on. Yes, guys. So yeah, that's what with this whole thing, as far as what the governor is saying. So the governor has a lot of support. He had a lot of support, and that's the reason why he decided that he was going to revoke the Disney status, the special status that gave Disney the opportunity to do a lot of stuff, basically make their laws. There was a time Disney had their own dollar going on inside Disney World, but it would only work in Disney World. So you could use it in the whole land of Disney, whether inside the parks, whether Epcot, Magic, whichever one of the parks you were at visiting, or you were outside in their Disney store in downtown Disney or walking around. The Disney dollar was what you would use. It was like almost having your own currency within Disney World. It was actually a world. So they had this whole special status. Now they got rid of the dollar. I haven't seen the dollar in years. I've been to Disney World a few times after that. I still have one of those dollars. Actually, I do have one downstairs. I should have brought it up. I didn't. But yeah, I do have one of those dollars. And it's the dollar they did work at the time, right? So Disney is really a huge support in the state of Florida. And the fact that they're in this whole like this bickle and backle, as far as what's going on, because them removing the status, I believe I definitely believe that some of the, these things that Disney used to take care of, like the water and the fire, and having these two counties that mixed in the middle. Now those responsibilities is going to be the responsibility of the residents of those counties, or right outside of the Orlando area. I'm pretty sure the politicians are telling the people, oh no, they're not going to raise, nothing is going to raise, no responsibility is going to be, going over on you. You don't have to. But I am telling you, when it comes to them, they're going to tell you something, and something else is going to happen later on. So I definitely believe that, there's going to be that time where we're going to hear about it in the near future, where Disney, because they were removed as the special status. I mean, of course, there were some benefits, there were some ups and downs in it for Disney, right? Disney got the special status, and of course, they paid less taxes. But at the same time, they were taking up a lot more responsibility by doing what they were doing outside Orlando, outside the Kissimmee area. But now, Disney's not part of that mix anymore, and of course, here we are. We're here where the state will be picking it up, or the jurisdiction outside of Orlando will be picking up what's new as far as going forward. But yeah, guys, so I wanted to jump on here, man, and see, just do a quick Friday evening live, and I should go to the club today. I'm just kidding, guys. I got kids. I got to take care of the kids. But yeah, no, I just want to jump on here, do a quick Friday evening live, touch base with you guys, see how you guys are doing. And just mention this quick story, the Mike Tyson and the Governor Desantis. It's like one to the other. So if you guys have any comments, man, please drop them in. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Let me see what is. I can't see any further. Hold on, guys. I can't go any further down. I can't see at the bottom of my screen, but nevertheless, yeah. So yeah, guys. I mean, that's pretty much it for me, man. That's pretty much it for me this evening. I want to jump on here, see, just touch base with these two topics real fast. See what you got. What are your thoughts on it? And that's it. Say hello. Hey, hope you guys have a good weekend, a blessed weekend. Maybe I'll just jump on here tomorrow or the day after, and got something else for you guys. All right. So please remember to like the video. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. Remember to love those who love you and those who do not. And peace and love. And we'll talk to you soon.